afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I want to thank Black Lives Matter for the invitation to speak. And thank each and every one of you who participated in the march and took time out of their busy schedules to make it out here today and participate and support the walk for justice. 57 years ago, on August 28, 1963, Dr. King led a march on Washington, and police brutality was one of the main issues covered then, and we're still dealing with it now. Same as president of the Franklin County NAACP, as pastor of Castle View Missionary Baptist Church, I truly believe in the First Amendment. Preach and proclaim the love of Jesus Christ, and that all people are the same in the sight of God, even in times like these, when the humanity of people of color continues to be questioned by those in high places. Today is the 57th anniversary of the lynching of Emmett Till, and here we are in 2020 with Jacob Blake being shot in the back 7 times and no one has been arrested. This past Saturday in Lafayette, Louisiana, Trayvon Pellerin was shot and killed by police. In Louisville, Kentucky, protesters have been arrested while the killers of Breonna Taylor are walking around free. The police that killed George Floyd, thankfully, have been arrested. This statue, which celebrates the Confederacy, while some people claim this monument is a symbol of heritage, others of us see it as a symbol of hatred and a knee on the neck of black citizens of Franklin County. Some police believe that this symbol gives them cover and the right to shoot and kill black people with impunity. Right-wing extremists see this statue as a reason to join a Bible study in Charleston, South Carolina, and shoot 14 people, killing 9. This statue gave cover to a 17-year-old vigilante who shot 3 people, killing 2 in Kenosha, Wisconsin, while walking by police. And our president has said nothing about this situation. He does not say anything about rogue police, right-wing extremists who are responsible for a lot of the looting and burning, because he said there are good people on both sides. It is past time for this and other statues to be removed from the courthouse grounds and public square. We are not asking that your monuments be destroyed, but place them in a museum or other appropriate place. This nation is hurting and is in a sad state of affairs. We are in desperate need of a spiritual and physical healing. We have a health care crisis which caused an economic crisis, and neither one can be solved by themselves. They have to be solved together. This country has always had a deep-seated morality crisis of systematic racism based on the treatment of fellow human beings and the original sin of slavery. Doc Rivers, the coach of the LA Clippers, said, "We keep loving this country, but this country does not love us back." We keep loving this country, but this country does not love us back. Despite how hard black people have worked to peacefully achieve the American dream, we are blocked by systematic racism. On Wednesday, the Milwaukee Bucks basketball team boycotted their playoff game against the Orlando Magic in response to the shooting of Jacob Blake. Other NBA teams, along with the WNBA, some Major League Baseball teams, and Major League Soccer teams boycotted their games. The protest of professional athletes cannot be dismissed. Hopefully and prayerfully, this will cause governmental leaders will act on justice and equality, not tomorrow, but today. If you want the looting and burning to stop, stop the police from killing unarmed black people. If you want the looting and burning to stop, stop the police from killing unarmed black people. And when they do kill someone, justice should be just as swift as it would be for any ordinary citizen caught on video killing a fellow human being. It is time for good police to stop standing silent and protecting bad police. It is time for good police to stop standing silent and protecting bad police. It is time for police unions to stop sheltering and providing legal help for bad police.
Yes, that's right.
Along with the peaceful protesters against the senseless and barbaric killing of unarmed black people, the hoodlums and extremists sensing an opportunity under cover of darkness to come rob, loot, steal, and burn, using peaceful protesters as cover. Now is the time to remove this statue.
Yes.
Now is the time to end systematic racism. Now is the time to take this statue off the neck of Franklin County. Because all lives matter. All lives cannot matter until black lives matter. All lives cannot matter
Until black lives matter.
until black lives matter. Someday soon, and I hope it's in my lifetime, we can proclaim free at last, free at last.
Thank God Almighty.
We'll
Free at last.
But until that day comes, in the words of the late great Don Lewis, let us continue to make good
Good.
That's right.
Thank you, Reverend Lawson. Not only thank you for your speech today, but thank you for your continued leadership here in Franklin County. Every speaker, except for Reverend Lawson, we gave him leeway because he is the president of the NAACP here in Franklin County, current leader, but all other speeches will remain at 3 minutes. Next we have, Vice Mayor of Martinsville, Virginia, Chad Martin. Thank you.
Did you hear me clap one time? Did you hear me clap 2 times? Did you hear me clap 3 times? That's all I needed. As I take the mask off and you see this beard, don't worry, Bin Laden is not hiding out in Virginia. Yeah. To the organizers of this event, thank you. To the police that are giving protection, thank you. Anytime police are doing good, I think we need to reinforce, give positive reinforcement. You know, Dr. King said something once. He said the reasonable man spends his whole life trying to conform to the world. The unreasonable man spends his whole life making the world conform to him. I am so glad today we had a Dr. King who was unreasonable to tolerate racism, who stood up so we all could be here together. You know, it really did my heart joy. I really didn't fully know what all this event was. I just trusted Eddie. But to see the youth, how many youth, give yourselves a hand. If Dr. King was here right now, he wouldn't be happy about the state that we're living in, but he would be happy to see this right here.
Yeah.
He would be so happy.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that was the most frustrating experience I've ever experienced, I had the privilege of going to the 50th anniversary in DC. It was 2013. I was on a spiritual high until I got back on the bus. I got back on the bus and the radio said the same African-American unemployment rate in 63 was exactly the same in 2013. Guess what they marched in 63? Jobs, justice, and equality. Guess what they marched for in 2013? Jobs, justice, and equality. What are we still marching for today? Jobs, justice, and equality. Does that mean things can't change? No. That means more of this needs to happen. And I'm so glad today, so glad our white brothers and sisters are here. Thank you so much for standing with us. Because some people sit back and watch even though they know wrong is going on. To my brothers and sisters from the African American community, something I want you to take very seriously. There's a thing called epigenetics. What that is, and they used it for the Jewish nation as well. They said that the same, while me and you might not have went through slavery, the same trauma and stress that our ancestors had have passed through the genes. And so our DNA has changed. And so when you start looking at health issues like COVID-19, be very mindful. Our health system is already messed up already. You can't go through 300 to 400 years of slavery and then all of a sudden no kind of counseling, no kind of help, no kind of deprogramming for that kind of experience. So I want you to be very mindful to get mental health checks on a regular. I want you to be very mindful, go to the doctor whenever you can. Your life depends on it. Our lives depend on it. But then too, I like to say to my Caucasian brothers and sisters, not only have we went through the stress and trauma of slavery, so did you. You can't have a country of this nation and to see the kind of things that you've seen and not feel some kind of guilt, not feel some kind of way about how people are being treated. And you've been given that privilege too, to carry that kind of weight with you. So don't be silent. And don't ever stop saying, Black Lives Matter.
Thank you, Chad. We appreciate it. And next we have, Greg Maxwell.
Good evening. My name is Greg Maxwell, and I am Franklin County. I grew up on Green Meadow Lane, just like many of you have. Just like many of you, I graduated from FCHS. And just like you, I felt the rules here were different for some than they were for others. Now, I love Franklin County, and I am Franklin County. And I was called back after I got out of the military. My kids are growing up here, and just like you, one of my daughters is going to Benjamin Franklin Middle School this year. I want you to understand that just like many of you, I was told growing up, one person isn't going to make a difference. What's one vote going to do? What's one board member, one speaker, one graduate, one sailor going to do? And for a long time, I believed it. Well, I stand before you today as the founder of Franklin County's Diversity and Inclusion Committee. I stand before you today to remind you that we have the power to change things. So Franklin County, be the change. Franklin County, be the progress. Because I am Franklin County and you are Franklin County. And our work doesn't start on November the 4th. It doesn't start after the election. It doesn't start after these board meetings. Our work starts now. You are not one person. You are America. You are Franklin County. So I'm going to leave you with this today. 20 years ago, a coach told me, the next step after satisfaction is failure. Now at the time, me and my teammates thought, the Lord, it's hot out here, and I'll be satisfied with failure as long as we get out of this heat. But he was teaching us We thought the lesson was not to be satisfied on the field, but he was also teaching us something I've carried every day since I came into manhood. Don't be satisfied with what's come. Don't be satisfied with what we have going on right now. Don't be satisfied with just voting. Don't be satisfied with just this inclusion committee. Don't be satisfied with just saying Black Lives Matters, Blue Lives Matters, all lives matters. Because the people who are against us are waiting for us to become satisfied so they can call us a failure. So don't be satisfied. We are Franklin County. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you, Mr. Maxwell. So next we have Brenda Hale. She is the current president of the NAACP in Roanoke, Virginia, and vice president of the 4th region of the state of the NAACP.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. I thank you for this invitation to come down to Rocky Mount, Virginia. And to be in front of this should give us great pause. Today, I want to speak on extremes and justice. I bring you greetings from the Roanoke Branch NAACP and the Virginia State Conference NAACP. It has been a year of extremes, extreme disappointments, extreme heartbreak, extreme tension, extreme opinions. When it comes to the injustices of the world, our tendency is to have an extreme judgment. For some, you're just becoming aware of the injustice happening around you, realizing you've been blind to it for a long time. But we have had 400 years of extreme injustice. For others, you might have jumped head first into deep end of the issues and have been working tirelessly to fight against them. Our God-given instinct must demand that we move our hands and feet, our mind and mouth in response to injustice, all injustice, as best we can within our means. Racism, speak up, speak out. Oppression, speak up, speak out. The poor and the marginalized, speak up, speak out. All of these are victims of injustice. The needs of the orphans. And think, you haven't heard about this, what about the children in the cages? You haven't heard about that. They're still in cages. They're still being mistreated. It's got to break your heart to realize that. These are all our issues because they are God's issues. Justice and righteousness are biblical mandates in all areas of life because we reflect and represent the just and righteous King of heaven and earth. We pray on earth as it is in heaven. We're told in Daniel, the people who know their God will stand firm and take action. That's in Daniel chapter 11, verse 32. This verse is a reminder to all of us that the foundation of knowing God and being known by God are the prerequisites for acting and reacting to injustice in our world in a biblically faithful, God-honoring way. When we know God, we are aware of Him and His truth. No matter the circumstance, we are presented with our relationship with God. Not only guides us through life, but guides us through the difficulties of untackling injustice around us and personal injustice within us. Do you understand what I'm talking about today? Yeah. All of us are exposed to injustice. All of us. Because we are what? The human race. Today, it is 57 years that Dr. King gave his historic speech in Washington, D.C. He said, I quote, "We've come to our nation's capital to cash a check. We refuse to believe that the Bank of Justice is bankrupt. We refuse to believe that there are insufficient funds in the great vaults of opportunity in this nation. And so, we've come to cash this check. A check that will give us on demand the riches of freedom and the security of justice." Do you know what I'm talking about today? Today, we still face two sets of justice. Their justice, which is white justice. Our justice, which is black justice. Folks, we must continue to demand justice. We are citizens of this United States of America. We are entitled to the right of fair justice. I took an oath to defend this country.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I didn't come back home to see all of this injustice. To still be dealing with Jim Crow and this injustice. Folks, let us all unite in the battle cry for justice. And this is justice for all. What do we want?
Justice!
What do we want?
Justice!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
When do we want it?
Now!
God bless you.
Yes, please.
Thank you, Ms. Hale. And last but not least, I'm going to call on Henry Turnage. I'm not certain if there is an actual name for the group he started, but I'm going to say he is the leader of bringing down this statue. Okay?
We turn it. Yes. That's
First
right.
of all, I'm not the leader of anything. No, I don't want to be here. I don't.
Amen.
I shouldn't have to be here.
Amen.
The reason I'm here, come here, Zay. Come here. This is the reason I'm here.
All right.
My son is not a criminal. Since I started this, this walk, I've learned a lot about America, a lot about the statue, a lot about Franklin County, a lot about the United States of America. Franklin County, we have to move forward together. That includes you guys. You guys have to look at this statue and give it a little bit of respect. These are people's family on this statue. I know what they fought for was wrong, but in order for us to move forward, we have to come at these people with love. They are expecting us to come and tear this statue down. We are not going to do that. We are going to have them come and take it to where they want it. We are going to come and pray for the people on this statue. When this statue is removed, which I'm going to speak it into existence, because there's no way this statue can stand here and this building does its job. There's no way that can happen in 2012. In Franklin County, Virginia, as a black man, I have to go to the ballot to get my son to walk into the courtroom to receive justice. What is wrong with that scene? This courtroom should be open to everybody. I'm stating for a fact that this courtroom has never been free of racism. As long as his courtroom has been here, it has never been free of justice. It has never been open to black folk. I'm saying that the judges in here know it. I'm saying that the prosecution in here knows it. I'm saying that all the lawyers across the street that we can afford, they know it. So why come they don't step up and say something? Why not? My son cannot come in here and receive justice the way a white person's son can. He cannot do it. I cannot even give my son the illusion, because look, he doesn't even have the illusion of a fair trial here. At the front door, it tells him that he has to go in there and take a plea. He cannot go and take a jury. Franklin County, Virginia, when we go to the Board of Supervisors meeting, the people who come and take up for this statute, I want y'all to go and look at the tapes. They still do not see you as human beings, and they are the jurors that my son has to go to. Y'all have to see that. Y'all go back, the Board of Supervisors, go back and look at your own meetings and some of the things that you have said. You need to speak for my child as well. I want y'all to notice something else that does not belong here. That building right across the street. It says affordable bail bonds. Whenever you put currency in this place together, it's a recipe for disaster. You cannot have someone walk through here and somebody get paid for them being in prison on the other side. That will always mean something to your children. They will always come and get your kids and give them prison time. And somebody's getting currency on the other side of it. That building right there, that statement right there lets a guilty rich man go home. And it makes an innocent poor man stay in jail. That should never happen. For-profit prison is a disaster for America. We have to say that, ladies and gentlemen. We have to stand on that because our children are going to be subject to these laws going on in here. I just, like I said, this isn't a speech. I didn't write it. I just know that this boy right here needs access to this courtroom. I love y'all.
I just want to say to Mr. Turner, Martin Luther King said he wasn't a leader either. Thank you. I hadn't planned to say this, but Henry did talk about the Board of Supervisors. And there's one thing that came before the Board of Supervisors from the board that I want to clarify before we continue our march. And that was that Booker T. Washington donated to this statue. That is a lie. That is a lie. And I can say it's a lie because I volunteer at Booker T. Washington National Monument, and I'm one of the founders of the Friends of Booker T. Washington National Monument, and I was president there for 6 years and still on the board. And we do research. Historians do research. And there has been research on this particular point. And as Ms. Moore mentioned at the last meeting, the Daughters of the Confederacy begged Booker T to donate to the statue. So being the astute African-American leader that Booker T. Washington was during that time, he wrote a letter and inquired about the statue. But there's no record, none whatsoever, where he donated a dime to this statue. So I want people in Franklin County to know that Booker T. Washington did not donate to the statue. He placated like we have to placate on an ongoing basis. I don't know if you know this, but Booker T. Washington, he wrote a biography prior to the one called Up From Slavery. But when he wrote it, white folks said, oh no, you can't say that. So he had to write a new one. So Booker T knew what he had to do for black folk during that time to get us to where we need to be with an education. So he placated them by asking about the statue. There's no documentation where he donated to the statue. They have documentation where other people donated, and you know they will have documentation that Booker T did. And there is none. So from here, I'm going to turn it back over to Miss Bridget, and we're going to march down to the farmer's market and hear some music and a few more speeches. Thank you.